It's no secret that the United States has the most advanced military in the world. Looking at funding levels in 2023, the US spent more on their defense budget than the next 9 countries combined. The defense industrial base keeps the world's #1 military equipped at all times with weapons and vital supplies across the world. Yet most technologies used by the American war machine rely on key components supplied from our nearest peer competitor, China. Out of 35 strategic minerals identified by the Department of Defense as being critical to the defense industrial base, China is the leading producer of 16 minerals, and we don't even produce 22 of them. In today's animated video, we're going to see how the American defense supply chain is dangerously exposed to Chinese meddling. We'll also explore what needs to be done to prepare in case of a conflict with China. For almost 80 years, the defense industry has provided various products to the Department of Defense, ranging from bullets, helmets, and food, to tanks, submarines, and fighter jets. In 1993, the defense secretary for the Clinton administration hosted a dinner for the executives of the major defense firms. This dinner, dubbed the Last Supper, was when these execs were told that because of existing and further shrinking of the budget, they would have to consolidate or shut down. Since then, the number of prime contractors in the US has dropped from over 90 to 5 mega companies. Not only has the competition been wiped out, but these 5 have to source from a huge umbrella of sub-companies, many of which do not keep their purchases within US borders. Not until recent events did military strategists awaken to the realization that we need to decouple our military supply chains from China. The first event was the COVID-19 pandemic. With the entire world shut down, the volatility of global supply chains was made evidently clear, affecting both defense companies and the rest of the private sector. The second indicator was the war in Ukraine. After Ukraine prevented Russia from securing a quick victory, the war devolved into a prolonged conflict. The war has led to an extreme use of munitions from both sides, raising concern in the West over their own stockpiles in the case of a major conflict, especially as Ukrainian support has drained American stockpiles. We've given essentially half of our entire stockpile of Javelin missiles to Ukraine. Even worse, we've sent Ukraine much of our supply of Stinger missiles, which we hadn't produced since 2003 until recently restarting production. The war in Ukraine is often fought by an artillery barrage, and there, we have transferred more than 1.5 million artillery rounds, while as of 2023, we could only produce 20,000 new shells per month. If the US were to be involved in a prolonged conflict with a major power like China, possibly resulting from an invasion of Taiwan, there would certainly be apprehension over our ability to maintain a proper supply for war. The CSIS conducted several war games to seriously play out how the scenario would unfold. They concluded that munitions and missiles would pose a major challenge to the US as soon as only 1 week into a confrontation with China in the Taiwan Strait. Of chief concern, the low supply of long-range anti-ship missiles would diminish quickly and remove a potent weapon against seaborne invasion forces. America needs a reliable source to keep up wartime production. Here's the issue. China is the largest foreign source of critical materials for American defense manufacturers. China remains the global leader in casting, including munitions products, controlling 56% of the global production in 2020. The US accounts for less than a fifth of that, at under 11%. In a possible conflict over Taiwan, missiles to strike enemy ships and aircraft would be key. This is why nations close to the conflict are investing heavily in missile production. Japan, for example, has made standoff deterrence capabilities a core of their defense budget. In 2024, missile purchase, research, and missile countering technology made up roughly 23% of their entire defense budget. Taiwan itself has also been investing in its missile capacity, looking to rapidly increase its arsenal to 500 missiles by the end of 2022, and further reaching a goal of 1,000 by the end of 2024. Yet China also has a huge role in missile production. China dominates the rare earth elements market, which provides vital core inputs for missiles and military platforms. To elaborate how important this is, each F-35 fighter jet requires 920 pounds of rare earth materials, while a Virginia-class submarine requires over 9,000 pounds. You can check out an entire video we've put together on China's dominance of rare earth elements. Semiconductors, too, are made by both China and Taiwan. Their ability to control the flow of electric current for all electronics makes them vital to defense production. In 2022, Chinese manufacturers held the largest market for semiconductors, representing 31% of global total purchases. Historically, the US has bought Taiwanese semiconductors because of their higher quality. Yet, 36% of the semiconductors that the US purchased in 2022 were Chinese. If China invaded Taiwan before we could build a domestic semiconductor industry, we would lose our primary semiconductor supplier. The Pentagon has begun scrutinizing our defense supply chains, especially as China is said to be acquiring weapons overall 5 to 6 times faster than the US, building 30 new warships in 2022 versus America's 2, and becoming the global leader in producing anti-ship ballistic missiles. So what needs to happen for the US to set itself up for success? The Department of Defense identified 4 areas of improvement to our defense supply chains. The first is what are called kinetic capabilities, meaning missile systems in both quantity and quality, especially as America remains behind in hypersonic missile capabilities. The second is energy storage, establishing a capable lithium-ion battery chain for proper Chinese deterrence. The third is castings and forgings, critical in all platforms that need metal, including ships, aircraft, spacecraft, ground combat vehicles, weapon systems across the board, and many supporting equipment. The fourth is microelectronics, necessary for all electronics. They remain a central component of the DoD's advanced military capabilities. America needs a multi-step approach to secure not just defense reliance apart from China, but also to ensure a successful defense capability in the event of any prolonged major conflict. Auditing the supply chain as a whole would be a slow but necessary step to identify threats to America's defense system. Requiring private sector suppliers to evaluate their goods and where they get their resources from will allow transparency and accountability for defense contractors. We should also expand our suppliers to our known allies, the arsenal of democracy, at a global scale and for the modern era. Currently, the National Technology and Industrial Base is integrated with the defense industries in UK, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. Yet, we could open further to cooperate with more trusted allies. Expanding this list to countries like Germany, Japan, and India, nations who understand the Chinese threat with potential industrial capabilities that could be built or shifted to production of defense, could create more suppliers and strengthen political relations. Ultimately, we need to focus on mitigating rival foreign ownership and influence on our defense supply chains, while simultaneously building our domestic production capacity. Now more than ever, we need to get our defense supply chains out of China's hands. What do you think about America's reliance on China? What else could be done to rebuild America's independence from China? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And always remember,